You're now listening to the show about the shit in life that's just a bit too much, from the perspective of stand-up comics. With our hosts, Carmelo Bongiovi and Ken Krantz. This week's topic, he's got heart. With our guest, Jamie Alcroft. This is A Bit Too Much.
I think you are in a rare breed of people who have been on the Tonight Show under both Carson and Leno
and Jay. Oh yeah,
yeah, right. That is
sure.
that's sort of an anomaly. I think there's like a select few. You know, in sports, you're like, oh, there's only been 100 players who've hit a home run and back to back to back. You know, I think you're in a rare rare category there.
I feel like a rare bird.
Yeah,
I am a rare bird. What the hell?
What were those experiences like? I mean, and how do they differ from each other?
Well, I tell you, it came so quickly for us. I was a silversmith, and I had a store down in Duval Street in Key West, Florida during the 70s. And a lot of people passed through in the 70s. I had a lot of celebrities as clients and so forth. And, Paul Lynde and Valerie Perrine, Jill St. John. It's tacky to drop names. You know, Paul McCartney told me that. But anyway,
it's comedy. Everyone drops names.
Jimmy Taylor was standing right next to him when he said it too. I got bored. I got kind of bored. I just go to the beach every day and make jewelry and party and dance at the gay discos. I'd always take my girlfriends to the gay discos because nobody hit on them there.
They're going to say because they're better dancers.
They just hit on me, but they wouldn't hit on my girlfriends. So that was good.
Yeah.
And boy, it was a great experience. There were halcyon days. We were just a bunch of hippies living on an island, riding bicycles everywhere, and had big vegetarian feasts all over the place. Mel Fisher hadn't found his treasure yet. Jimmy was still playing over at Maynard's, which was a little place in Duval Street, down the street from my store. And I got bored, and I went to the radio station, and I said, I can do voices and impressions, and I can make your commercials are a lot more interesting. Their music was great. It was back in the 70s when disc jockeys could play whatever the hell they wanted.
Yeah, sure. The shows actually had a personality.
Awesome. And we had a couple of guys from the old station up in Baltimore, Bruce Youngblood and a couple other guys, Bobby Keller. And I went in and I just said, I can do voices for your commercials. And he said, what can you do? Well, I'll do Ronald Reagan. I'll do Sean Connery for you, for Christ's sake. Just turn me around. Well, I could do John Lennon if you want. We can look about that. And they said, sure, you're hired. You start tomorrow. I said, tomorrow? What do you mean? He said, show up at 5 o'clock, pick up your records. You go on the air at 6. So all of a sudden, I was the morning man in Key West, Florida.
Oh, they made you the host. Oh, wow.
That changed things. But I had to go home early. I was the only one in town going home early.
Right. Yeah, morning shift. Those radio morning shifts are not for the weak at heart.
No, they really not. I'd fix some cafe con leche and put it in the thermos and get on my bike and ride out to the station and do my show and ride back, go down the docks, get some fish. So
that's how you really got started in the business, through radio, through that opportunity.
I got off the air one day, and there was a message waiting for me. He said, you must be one of the funniest men in Key West. I'm the other one. That was a guy named Mack Dryden. And went over to his house. We got together. We wrote some stuff. We did a couple shows down in Key West together. And then at that time,
like stand-up shows, you mean, like a pair on stage?
Yeah. Well, sometimes separately, sometimes as a pair. I was doing stand-up at the Pier House by myself. That's when Paul Lynde would come in with his cronies. Pretty toasted, let me tell you.
Yeah.
And I don't know how far I can go on this show, but it was some pretty crazy times. And Mac and I found out about Fort Lauderdale and the comic strip in Fort Lauderdale. And what the comic strip out of New York City had done was they'd opened up a branch in Fort Lauderdale, and they'd bring 4 or 5 comics a week from New York down to Fort Lauderdale, put them up at a comedy condo.
Sure.
Which was, another story. That was a series right there.
Yeah.
And Yeah, Jackie.
That became a thing around that time. I think that's when that kind of started. Those comedy condos were like, you're talking like early 80s, right? This is like 80,
1980.
80.
79, 80.
Yeah.
And the comics coming down from New York were Paul Reiser and Jerry Seinfeld. And Mark Schiff and Rick Overton and Carol Leifer, Lois Stengrove. I mean, all these great comics would come down from New York. And we drive
to
up
do a weekend or whatever. Yeah.
We drove up every weekend. Yeah. And they put us on stage because we had an act like nobody had ever seen before. It was so bizarre.
So I would ask you, was the comedy condo thing? I've heard about this so many times, and it fascinates me. Were you were living in the comedy condo, but you were local somewhat, right? Like you were pretty local.
5 hours away.
Okay, got it. So you
lived
did
in the condo.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Nope, I lived in many condos in Cincinnati. We shared a condo with Jenny Jones and.
Jenny Jones
in Oklahoma City. We shared a condo with Ellen DeGeneres in Cincinnati, Dave Coulier in Columbus. You know, all these you share condos with people when you go
right,
and you're working those clubs, and those you never touched the mayonnaise in the refrigerator. Let me tell you that, okay?
Right.
I'm not going to go any further. You can figure it out for yourself.
Yeah.
But the joke was that one of them had fiddled with the mayonnaise in some way, and it was who was it? It was Bob Zaney. That's who it was.
and left it there, and just
that's the rumor started. And then there's a guy named Mitch Walters, and whenever you follow him in a comedy club into a comedy condo, the phone had been disconnected because Mitch had made 3:00 in the morning calls to Dubai and stuff, and really abused the privilege. And if there was a car to get back and forth from the condo to the club, and Mitch Walters had been there, there wasn't a car anymore.
That's funny
because he had trashed it. God bless him. He's gone now, but man, he was a party monster. And those
wild time.
We started working out with these New York comics, and these New York comics said, "Come to New York."
Mm-hmm.
So we got a little money in our pocket. We drove to New York, got on stage. About 3 months later, we were signed to William Morris. And about a year later, they flew us out to California. We drove out to California, but we flew. And we did our first Tonight Show with Johnny.
With Johnny Carson. And you had appeared on that show more than once, right?
With Johnny Carson. That was our first time in 1981. We had been together about a year and 2 months by that time.
Let me ask you a bit about that, because everyone I have ever heard who talks about, now I've met a number of people who've been on the Tonight Show, but not many that have been on Carson's Tonight Show. And everyone talks about those days and that iteration of the show, which was like, the iteration for most people, especially for comics, but really especially for show business. I mean, for show business in general, but especially for comedians, what I'm trying to say. And so
it was validation, what it was, Carmelo.
It's like a life-changing, you've got the stamp, right? Like this is the stamp of approval.
And you say, you've done Tonight Show yet? No.
Yeah.
Oh, then you're not a comedian.
Right.
You done Tonight Show yet? Yeah. Oh, okay. You must be legit. It really was validation in those days.
What's funny about that is, like, these days, what gets you the are you a comedian or not are just like, are you doing 8 spots a week? Like I think the stamp is so different where, like, I feel like back in those days, and maybe you could disagree with this, but like I feel like the goal was to get out of the clubs back then. Right, but now it's to be in the clubs. Like now it's more about the clubs itself, and it's just a very different time too in terms of like
a nice evolution. Actually, it really is.
Yeah, or de-evolution, depending how you look at it.
Well, the clubs started up around the same time that cable companies started to come around.
Right.
And people were doing comedy on cable, we did one of the first series on Showtime, a new network. We were in New York City at the time. A guy named Miles Laurie, who was Barry Manilow's manager, he got some deal together with Showtime, and we did a series of comedies for him.
Yeah.
And it was just, nobody's ever going to see it. It's just it's some place called Showtime.
Sure.
It was just
sure. Yeah, that was the stigma. Yeah.
People would stop coming to clubs for a long time because they could stay at home and watch people use cuss words and swear and talk about bodily functions on TV for the first time.
That's interesting, because that's really to your point, the beginning of comedy clubs and almost the end of them for a second, you know?
It really was.
Right in the same era.
Cops would sit outside of a comedy club and just knock off the DUIs like that.
Right.
And people were taking Quaaludes and getting drunk and just, I mean, back in the day, the cocaine backgammon days of the 80s.
Yeah.
It was just
Sure.
crazy. I never used it. I enjoyed the smell, but I never used the stuff. But we just hit upon the timing was perfect because comedy clubs were springing up everywhere. And then towards the late 80s, they started to fade out a little bit, but I'm really glad that they're coming back.
Yeah.
And I think the social media has brought that back.
Oh, for sure. You know, it's definitely ebbed and flow over the decades, I think, from what you say. But yeah, this is a sort of, I think that area that you're referring to that you're in was like the one boom. And then it kind of, this is like probably the next biggest comedy boom since that.
I think
so. You know, I'm always fascinated. You know, I remember reading Steve Martin's autobiography. I don't think people understand that before comedy clubs, you had to just get your act, and you really had to be sort of an oddball to do it because you had to have your act in places that were not meant for comedy.
Strip clubs.
They were on other shows of any sort, right? Of
Denny's. They used to set us up at these ground round restaurants in New Jersey.
And that's it. And you know, I don't think comics today understand that because comics will do pop-up shows now when they just like, oh, I want to produce my own thing. But I don't think that people understand that there was a period of time when that's the only way you could have done comedy. And think about that mentality because you know, as you guys are getting started and you know, maybe some clubs are popping up, to tell anyone, you know, right? Like I'm going to try to be a comedian. It's like, what's the end goal besides TV? I guess like people must have thought about that as an odd venture where now it's like, oh, okay, well, there's 40 comedy clubs in New York City, right? Yeah. Like there's a path to get started now. It's you got to kind of create your own path back then, right? It's like it's a different time. Yeah,
completely, totally. It was a lot of word of mouth. When we got out to LA, you know, we were encouraged to go to New York. We went to New York. Because we had written an act in Key West, Florida, away from any major city influence.
Right.
It was really different. We weren't the fat guy and the skinny guy or the dumb guy and the smart guy. We were two funny guys going at each other.
Right, right.
Something nobody had ever seen before. And audiences felt, you know, they feel real comfortable with the Smothers Brothers because you know how one of them is going to act.
Yeah, you know the parts, right?
Martin and Lewis, you know that the roles they're going to play. Mack and I switched roles all the time. I was the antagonist, he was the protagonist, and then we'd switch off. And never knew who was going to be the goofball. Right. I had been kind of the straight man for 30 minutes of the act, and then all of a sudden I started putting Scotch tape all over my face.
Right, which really also means that the act itself, the jokes have to be good because that is confusing for people. And so the jokes really have to hold their own, right? Like more so than like, you know, that you know who Abbott and Costello is, right? Like when you play those roles. Sure. And so you know, then you go on, you get that opportunity, you get signed, you go on Carson. And that's a life-changing moment, right? Like that's kind of like
we did it again, and then a producer approached us after our second Tonight Show appearance with Johnny, and said, "Geez, you know, you guys need your own TV show." So we said, "Sure, absolutely." Yeah. And through a series of auditions and you know, doing our act in somebody's office, and we landed a TV show, and it was called Comedy Break. And the idea was we were going to do it on a tight budget. Viacom produced it. We called them the Vietcomese because they were the enemy of comedy. And we did 5 live shows, Carmelo, 5 live shows every Saturday morning. Okay?
Wow.
5 half-hour live shows every Saturday morning.
That's a lot of work.
All week. Did them. We have Ruth Buzzy in to do a sketch with us, Tom Poston, Fred Willard, Steve Allen, Rosemary and Maury Amsterdam, all these people coming on the show. And then we said, well, we want a comedy corner in the half hour. So we were able to get We put Ellen DeGeneres on the air for the first time. Paul Reiser's first national television. Sinbad's first. Steve Middleman, Mark Schiff. I forget who else we put on there, but we just kept putting comics on, like friends.
And this is doing like a set,
and they come up and do a set, on a Saturday morning for a live audience.
Right.
And what was really weird was the stars would come in, and we'd show them a script, and an hour later we'd be shooting the sketch on live TV with them. It was fantastic. It was so much fun. It had cue cards, of course, but and live audience, and it was just a blast. We hardly ever stopped tape. We just bull through. Mac got knocked off the chair by Richard Mull, the guy who played the We were doing the S&M diner where the waiters smack your lips for you.
Right.
And, Richard took it literally.
Right. That's right. That's doing skits and 5 a day. I mean, that is a lot of energy. I get Ken Krantz in here for like 2 episodes at a time, and he's like exhausted. He's like taking a nap.
You never knew. Well, there was a big mirror just before
we're not moving.
The split in the curtain. So before you went through the split, you got to look in the mirror and see who you were.
Right.
And then when we did the first 50 live, and then we went to live on tape, and that's when we hired Kevin Pollak and Jan Hooks, our sketch players with us.
Yeah.
And we did 125 shows, sketch playing with those guys, and it was a blast. We used to do the Beatles, who's on first. Kevin would be Paul, and I'd be John. What'd you write today? Do you want to know a secret? I'm in no mood to play games. It was that kind of stuff.
And you did 125 of these, 125 episodes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's really cool. A lot of fun. And
where did that air at the time?
The 80, 85, 86.
Sorry, where?
New York? Are you out of New York?
Yeah.
Okay, it was on like Channel 5 or Channel 9 in New York.
Got it. Okay.
Something like that. Sometimes, we were on 11:30 here in L.A., and Johnny got wind that we were cutting into his ratings, so because he owned part of KTLA, he moved us to 1:30 between Odd Couple and Rat Patrol. That was perfect setup for us. But in Denver, we were on opposite the local news at 10 o'clock. And we used to go to Denver and sell out shows all the time at like the Rainbow Music Fair and all that stuff.
Yeah. I feel like getting moved by Johnny is also another stamp of approval. That more of an insider behind the scenes, but that's like kind of validation too, right? Because you're like, we have to be moved.
He did not like teams either.
Yeah.
He did not like. He likes those single people that walk out and deliver their jokes.
So how did you guys end up pulling that off with him? Because I know he was very particular, right, about what he liked, who he invited to panel and all that stuff. Like
Jim McCauley pulled it off for us.
Yeah.
And then, even we were standing behind the gold curtain on our second appearance, and Jim came up to us. He said, that phone bit you guys were going to do? I said, what do you mean we're going to do? He said, I don't want you to do that now. Do the Reagan bit instead. So
right before you're about to go on.
Yeah. While Johnny was introducing us.
Wow.
Crazy. So we just adjusted. That happens a lot in a team. We learn to talk to each other on stage without letting the audience know that we're talking to each other.
Sure. It's that ebb and flow thing you could do on stage, but with another person. I've spoken to, there's a comedy team I know that are brothers, and I'm always like, how do you... They're like, it's just kind of like a chemistry thing. It's like you don't really even have to say it. You kind of just know where you're going. Because I've avoided like improv because I don't want to work with a team. On stage.
Improv's so much fun. It's great.
I have no doubt about it. It's more of myself. It's like if I'm on stage, I like being on stage with the microphone alone. And that's probably just a comfort zone thing for me. That's how I've always.
It is. Yeah.
I've only done straight up stand up my whole life. So for me, it's the idea of like having to play a part and not having total control really scares me. Like that to me sounds like a scary thing. So it's not to shit on improv because it's a great thing when it's working. It's more just like I don't know how I would play that part.
Well, I tell you, here's the secret. I coached improv for 6 years at a high school.
Yeah.
And the secret is to get into a character, because a character will push you through a scene where you might not push yourself through.
So you have to lose yourself in that character.
All of a sudden, you decide you're going to be Russian.
Yeah, right.
You're going to this, and you go out like this, and you start talking like it's amazing the things that pop into your head.
Yeah. You have to lose yourself in the character.
Different. And you levitate out of your mind, out of your body. You become someone different, and then you say,
yeah. He's done it. He's transformed. We've lost him. He's in Russia.
I used to yell at my kids like that in malls. I love that. If you hit on one word like "uskunya," you just keep repeating it. People think you're legit.
Everyone around you is like, "What does that mean?" What's Googling the word?
Oh, those kids are in deep trouble there.
And so when you so you did Carson a number of times. You mentioned, how particular he was. He didn't really like teams. What was like? Did he seem to like you once you were there?
I saw him backstage after our first shot, and he said, "It's great when it works, isn't it?" And I think that's about all you can get out of him.
It's great when it works. That's so backhanded. It's like,
I know.
That's like when somebody comes out to a show and they go, "Oh, that was actually funny."
Have you ever had a comic walk up to you after the show and say, "Hey, that was really good"? When do you think you lost the audience?
What do you think went wrong? And you're like, and I'm like, "Oh, I thought it was."
Opinion about when you lost them, but when do you think you lost them?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Comics do that all the time. You'll go and have a killer set. Maybe you had like a weird minute, and they're like, "Wow, you're really fucking. That was a rough." They'll hone on that.
After our Tonight shows and after our TV series, we started touring with Diana Ross and Lou Rawls and the Technicians and all those people. And that was fun and it was good money. But then we discovered the corporate market, and we were clean comedians. We were a clean comedy team.
Yeah, so corporate works.
Doing television. We'd come up doing television. So we were clean. And it wasn't cable. It was network. So,
So like private gigs, corporate.
Oh, that's where we made our money. That's how I bought my house. That's how I raised my 3 kids. That's, that's how a family comes together, because you need that income, and the comedy clubs weren't giving it. And you can wait for a sitcom, but who's going to get a sitcom to 2 guys? The Funny Boys had one for a while. That was pretty good. That was a good show. And then they went on to other great things.
Yeah.
Have you ever talked to them?
No.
They're funny guys.
Yeah. I mean, the corporate gigs are they're very particular. You know what I mean? And like, I've been referred to for corporate gigs, and then I'm like, I gotta send you my tape. I don't think I'm the right guy.
You can pull in $35K a night for 45 minutes.
Oh yeah.
You make adjustments. You do. And if they say, hey,
that offer was never on the table.
CEO has his children in the audience tonight.
Right.
Well, you just do humor that no parent's gonna look and say, "Oh my God, I can't believe my children heard that."
Yeah.
You just don't go there. You don't go there. You can't be that self-indulgent. I mean, it's an art. We used to send out questionnaires to General Motors and Alcon and Amgen and all these people we worked for. And, because we did corporate for 20 years.
It's so interesting, the mentality for that, because like you said, you guys started out really in TV, and you had these big TV appearances early on. So like, that's so much of what forms your idea of where to go with what's funny, right? Like, if you think about what comics, like we said before, comics a lot of times are like, not to say that they don't want to do bigger things in the clubs, but they are in the clubs night after night, right? That's where they're coming up, and that's where they're, in their formative years as a comedian are, that's their influence, right? That's what they're seeing, that's what they're doing. So I think a lot of comics these days, myself included to a degree, but like, I think a lot of comics these days are not able to take those gigs on, because it's like all they know is the kind of dirty, dingy nightclub, So it's a very different
it's a trap. It's a trap for young comics. It really is.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna limit your scope, It's going to limit your scope of opportunities. That's just the bottom line.
It's
I'm
a very
not rude. Fuck no.
I hear what you're saying. There's nothing wrong with that. You know what it is though? I think that the mentality is so, comics want to be recognized by like nightclub comics want to be recognized by other nightclub comics. Like that's what they're aiming for. Something, you know what I'm saying? Like it's so, and then social media and all that stuff. But I feel like so much of that opinion and who they identify as is formed by just their peers, not like this thing to attain, which is such a different thing than what you're talking about in your trajectory, you know?
I think you have to try to create a different form. People like Bob Newhart, people like George Carlin, they both created a different form of comedy. Even Flip Wilson, who used to be a drag character, he started a different form of comedy. And I think rather than being generic, I think young comics, if I was a young comic today, I'd strive to be totally different than anybody else going up there.
You would think
penises or pussies or, why? Because everybody else is talking about it.
I also think it's just what's genuine to who you are. Like in terms of just, I'm not talking about.
That's true. But it can be a cop out though, Marcelo.
For sure.
Why do I keep calling you Marcello?
I don't know, but you're the second person I've ever met. You're the second person I've ever met that calls me that, and it's only the switch of two sounds, so I get it.
It's because you look Italian. I want to call you Marcello.
Yeah, they're both very Italian.
Look at the cheese today.
It's just switching the flavor of prosciutto. I think that. It's just a very different mentality, and funny is clean, funny is dirty, whatever. I don't think there's a way to be funny or not, but is it genuine to who you are?
I think you're right.
Like,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Because what works for you may not work for another guy, and vice versa. I'm not talking about success or carving out paths like this thing about like you were able to make that money doing corporates, other comics can't. I'm not even talking about that part. I'm just talking about like who you are, identity, just identity as a comic, like your voice, like what makes you unique. If you really are genuine to yourself, you should come out unique because there's only one you, right? So if you're you on stage,
it's like Fred Stoller. You remember Fred Stoller?
Yeah, sure.
There's only one Fred Stoller.
Yeah,
he's just very unique. There was only one Richard Belzer.
Yeah.
Nobody ever even tried to copy him, I don't think.
Yeah. Well, then there's all actually that's an interesting point too, is that then there is also people who copy. I'm not talking about stealing jokes necessarily because that's basically a crime, but but styles. People steal styles, Well,
when I first got on stage in Key West, I was petrified. We used to do the first Sunday of every month, this producer down there got it into his head to do the Ed Sullivan Show. Mm-hmm. And he cast this frisbee throwing hippie as Ed Sullivan.
Yeah.
And he'd come out and he introduced all these different acts. And there were, being Key West and Mallory Square and Sunset, there were jugglers, there were magicians, there were all kinds of people, sword swallowers, all fire eaters, all kinds of people in town performing, street performers.
Yeah, sure.
Bring them in off the street and put them in the Ed Sullivan Show. And it was really funny. And I decided I was going to do a half an hour of comedy. And a friend of mine said, why don't you do my masturbation bit? And
so try to give you their bit.
He said, you know it. You're comfortable with it. You know where the laughs are. Just, kind of to get you. So I did. And it was Kenny Kramer, the guy who was the inspiration for Kramer in the
right. Yeah, sure.
The actual Kramer.
Yeah, the real, yeah.
Yeah, and he had a bit about bringing the romance back into masturbation.
Okay.
All the romance gone out of masturbation.
Yeah.
Call yourself a couple weeks before, disguise your voice.
Yeah.
Send yourself a card the day of.
Coy about it, sexy.
Then you send yourself flowers the day of. Don't sign the card. Don't sign the card.
Right.
Things like that. So
yeah.
And then you end up taking your hand out and it was 5 minutes, but I knew it and it made me feel comfortable and it got me rolling. And then I started into my own thing.
Yeah. Well, someone should have told Kenny Kramer he has to stop giving away all the things he has because that ended up happening in a bigger way.
Yeah.
Hey, you know what you should do when you're on that TV show on NBC? You should act like me.
Yeah, act like me. Yeah. Your entrance. Make sure
poor
your
Kenny
entrance
Kramer.
is big every time.
Poor Kenny Kramer is like a mistaken like an unintentional ghostwriter for the stars.
Yeah, he's great. He's a funny comic and just the sweetest man in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, really is.
And so, I want to talk to you a bit about, it's a big part of what you're doing, all these podcasts and everything, is Lab for Life.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
I want to talk about that, but I also want to talk about what got you there, because I was reading the fact that you had is this, I think 2017 is what I read.
In 2005.
Okay.
I had a congenital heart condition I didn't know about. It's called the Widowmaker.
Yes,
you have a weak wall in your left ascending artery, and you can get checked for that. By the way, now, guys, if you're out there, you can get checked for this now. And prevent a Widowmaker from happening, because they're supposed to stop you dead right in your tracks.
Right, it's supposed to be pretty. I know a guy who survived one, but it was only because he was like at the hospital when it happened.
Well, I was in an airplane at 30,000 feet. It took them an hour and a half to get to a hospital in Provincetown, in Providence, where was
Providence, Rhode Island?
It was in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, okay.
And
so how did you, by the time they land, how did you arrive? What were you just incapacitated?
My 3 kids were on the plane with me. My wife wasn't with me. She was doing one of her ice skating things.
Yeah.
And they managed them. And I mean, Alaska Airlines took care of everything, and it was really great. But I suffered heart damage. So I lived for 12 years with 20% of my heart working, and I had a pacemaker. And I spent the big bucks. I didn't scrimp on the pacemaker. I got XM Sirius radio and power windows, dual climate control, the whole thing.
Yeah, you got it souped up. Yeah,
that was a lifesaver, man.
Spinning rims on it.
Yeah. So then I lived for 12 years like that, and then in July of 2017, which you were referring to, my heart dropped from 20% to 7%. And and the symptom was when I laid down to rest, I'd run out of breath. I couldn't sleep unless I was sitting up. And that's congestive heart failure. If you ever have that happen to you,
the pressure your back is putting on,
whatever it is, that's the symptom. So I called the doctor, and he said, "Get down here, get tested." And they put me in Cedars. I was in Cedars Sinai in Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
For 3 months.
Yeah.
And that's where I wrote my book, The Tin Man Diaries, available on Amazon. It's funny. And because all the stuff around me was funny, and I decided I was going to go out laughing. And I didn't know whether the last face I was looking at was going to be the last face I ever saw. So I wanted to make sure it was laughing and smiling when it left me.
And you felt in this moment, this is probably it.
That was it. Oh, yeah. Then my heart went down to 4%. And they were starting to disconnect stuff from me and stuff. And I also, but I had a sense, I did a biopsy on my liver. I'm laying on the table at 6:00 in the morning. The doctor says, "I'm Dr. Schwartz. I'll be performing you the surgery. There's a chance of stroke or internal bleeding." And I said, "For me or for you? What are we talking about here?" And his mask puffed. So I knew he got it.
Yeah, sure.
But I just tried to keep
You're like, I'm still killing. I'm dying, but I'm killing.
I thought, I'm not going to be miserable. If I'm dying, I'm not going to be miserable.
Yeah. That's a great mentality to have. Yeah.
I had my 3 kids, and they let me bring my dog up to the room, and it was great. It was great. They wouldn't let me bring the kids up to the room, but they let me bring my dog.
The dog.
Anyway.
Well, because kids will raise your heart. Kids will make your heart go faster. The dog will calm me down.
It was like living in an episode of MASH, because every night the helicopters would land on the roof with organs, and you'd think, "Oh, is this going to be me? Is this going to be me?"
So you're sitting there waiting for the hope that yours is coming in.
You're waiting, and finally, a heart and liver came through, and
because you needed both. You needed a heart and a liver. These are both
my heart had been beating up on my liver. I had heart-induced cirrhosis, what they call. I said, "You mean I got to drink more?" I was a comic, for God's sake.
Yeah.
And so So then they stitched me up. They split me open, threw these previously enjoyed organs in me, and they've been working for 10 years now. And
previously enjoyed organs.
The point where you think, "Gee, a stranger saved my life." I've got to do something. I'm back here for a reason. So I thank my donor every day. You know, a bird sings or a breeze blows, and I go, thank you, man. I'm glad to be here.
You don't know who this donor is.
I do now.
Oh, you do?
I do now.
Now, wait, and so same donor, both organs?
Yes.
That's the same. Okay, got it.
It has to be. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Because the liver and heart are really simpatico. They have
Got
a
it.
very tight relationship.
Oh, okay. Okay,
One's
I
the
did not
filter,
know.
one's the pump, you know. It's just
Right. So you can only
like
get
a
them in
car.
pairs.
It's like a Buick, you know.
Yeah. Right.
So I decided, well, there's millions of people out there who are registered organ donors who have made the promise to save 8 lives when they pass, give eyesight to the blind, tendons, skin to burn victims, all these things. I mean, it's just, we are the most recyclable thing on earth. We're throwing away glass and aluminum and cardboard. Great. We should keep doing that. But this is the most recyclable thing on earth. And if you recycle it, you can change somebody's life. It changed my life. So I thought, I've got to thank these people while they're still alive. How can I do that? Well, I go back to my roots of comedy. So I went down to the Comedy Magic Club in Hermosa Beach, and the owner there, Mike Lacey, said, sure, I'll give you the first Thursday of every month, free for donors. Over a year, I showed I could put 50 extra people in the room per show. That's 50 extra people drinking and eating.
Yeah, sure.
They might have got in for free, but they're drinking and eating.
Paying customers,
the show
for
better
sure.
for the comics, for the audience, for everybody, for the wait staff, for everybody. So I took it to the Improv. I said, you've got 14 clubs around the country. What do you say?
Yeah.
Erin Schoenfeld there at the Improv, she came through, man. She said, absolutely, let's do it. And she said, I don't care about competition. You can get the club down the road to do it too, because this is about saving lives.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
That is
really
not the
good.
mentality of a lot of club owners. With anything.
No, it doesn't sound like a lot of club owners. And Mike Lacey's the same way. He said, yeah, I want to do it because it's better for my comics.
Yeah.
That's what he cares about. I mean, he cares about the audience for sure. But first thing, better for my comics.
Sure. I mean, we're creating this is a good room. This is a good room for them.
Yeah.
And over at the Improv, they're like, this is a good cause, right? So
yes,
this is
absolutely.
Yeah.
So now Chicago, Denver, Brooklyn. I don't know whether Brooklyn started it yet, but if it hasn't, give them a call. Say, I'm a donor. I want some tickets. Because if you're a registered organ donor, you get 2 free tickets.
Well, that club is like brand new, right? The Brooklyn club is new, is pretty new.
Brand new. And it took over some other club. I don't know. But it's Levity Live is the organization.
Yeah, sure.
And they've just been doing wonderful, wonderful work with the Improv. And I'm just so honored and proud that they took it on. I want to spread it to the Comedy Works, to the Comedy Chateau, to Yuck Yucks, to Zanies, to everybody. I think everybody should get on board with this because, I want to start at Dodger Stadium because it gets people talking about donorship. Carmelo, 15 people a day die because the organs they need aren't available. Well, you can't tell me there aren't a lot of people dying that could have been donating their organs to keep
I'm sure
people alive.
I don't think anyone thinks of their body like that. You know, like if you're not in the conversation or if someone's not introducing you to the idea, you know, so you had said like a single person could like have
save 8 lives.
Save 8 lives.
Yes. And now they're transplanting bladders. So it's even maybe 9 lives now.
Yeah. And so I don't.
Old skin's better for burn victims because it doesn't snap back. So hear, I'm too old. Nobody wants my stuff. Bullshit.
You know, that's kind of where my mind was going to. Is like, at what age are you just decrepit and you just can't give anything? That's not the case. Yeah.
No age. And you know, it has a funny impact. Not a funny impact. It has an interesting impact. It's very spiritual in nature because they put me on a float in the Rose Parade this year in Pasadena because I started this program. And I met a donor family who'd lost their daughter, Chelsea. She was 18. They lost her to a drunk driver crossing the street. She was in a crosswalk. And she had saved 5 lives. And they were meeting the man who had her heart. They were listening to her heart with a stethoscope in the chest of this man. And then they met the teenage boy whose eyesight was restored because of Chelsea's corneas.
Oh, man.
And I said, I'm so sorry for your loss. And the mother turned to me with the biggest smile on her face and say, Chelsea was a hero.
Yeah.
She saved 5 lives. She gave this boy his eyesight back. She's our hero.
Yeah,
and what I realized was it eases the grieving.
Mm-hmm.
It blew me away.
Because it's not for nothing.
I've been a donor since I was 17, but I never thought of the impact that being a donor has on those you leave behind.
Can I ask you something? Can you donate the parts that were donated to you?
It's huge. Yes. Oh yeah.
You can. So you can.
Oh yeah.
Oh okay.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know if it's a one.
My heart's
I don't know if it's a
57.
one time rental. You know.
My heart's 57. I'm 77. I'm gonna have another midlife crisis and get a reverse.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a beautiful story. That's amazing. Like to think about that as a parent, I'm a dad as well, and like as a parent, you'd think, losing your kid, it would just be so devastating and destroy you really as a human. So to have, that mother's also making a choice to see the beauty in that as well. Because
absolutely. I think that's a choice we all have to make. I can throw Tom Dreesen passed this morning, and I just got word of Tom Dreesen.
Yeah. No, I did not know.
Classic comic, open for Sinatra, all those.
Yeah, no, I'm familiar. I didn't know he passed.
Yeah, he passed this morning from cancer about 5:00 this morning. And I wrote something about the fact that, he doesn't have to go to heaven. We're in heaven. It's up to us to create the paradise that we live in. It's up to us, and it's all about attitude.
Yeah.
You don't fight over color or religion, or you spell God with 2 O's, and you don't even need religion. Everybody can get along. It just blows my mind, the things that people and people always say, oh well, my religion objects to donation. And it's no religion objects to it.
That's
no reason.
That's a crazy take.
If you want to die, you're going to die. You want to have a place to put your wings. You will. You can actually have an open casket and be a donor. The people have so many misconceptions about donorship that the paramedics won't keep you alive until you get to the hospital. That is such horse shit.
I've heard that one. I've heard that. Yeah. Don't do it because they'll just kill you to take your organs.
And I'm always donor dot.
The flaw in that
donor, their job is to get you to the hospital alive, and they've made an oath to do it. And
also, like, what kind of logic would that be? If the point is to get your organs to save a life, why would they kill you? Like, you know what I mean? That logic never checked out to me. I'm like, if they want the organ so bad because it saves lives, why would they be willing to kill someone else for it?
Well, there's a lot of living donors now, people who are giving kidneys.
Yeah, sure.
Giving kidneys to strangers.
I just saw an actor
called Abundance out right now.
An actor was just talking about, I think Jesse Eisenberg was just talking about how
he gave a kidney to a stranger.
Yeah.
Because he's got 2, he only needs 1, and he can save a life.
I think there's definitely misnomers, like many misnomers about it, and I think, like I just said one before, like I thought, like at a certain age, like would they just be like do they only take viable organs from whatever 50 under or whatever the, like I would have thought, not knowing what it was, I kind of made an assumption that there was an age cutoff to that.
Nope.
Yeah.
Never has been. Well, let's set it at 150. Okay.
Right. There should be something.
Sure. Yeah, great. Let's be inclusive.
If you're
so anyway, I really want anybody who charges money at the door to think about having donor nights and letting registered organ donors in for free, because the life they save may be your own.
Listen, if club owners can paper a room when they just don't sell enough tickets and get people in because they know they'll eat and drink, then why not do it?
Why not?
for that purpose, right?
Why not? And be magnanimous and do something to save lives. At the Comedy Magic Club, I don't know how it is at the Improv, but at the Comedy Magic Club over that year, we would sign up 2 to 3 people a night as donors.
Oh, wow.
So that was amazing, because if you can walk out of a comedy show knowing that you've saved 16 to 24 lives, wow.
Jamie, where can people go? Is there a site? Do you guys have a active site to learn more about this?
It's called improv.com/donors.
Yeah.
Or if you're in Huntsville or West Nyack, You can go to I beg your pardon, you can go to levitylive.com/donors.
And we'll put all the stuff in the bio of the episode. It'll all be on the.
I appreciate
we'll put all the links in there as well, so people can easy
and you
clicking.
go there, and even if you're not a donor, there's a place for you to become a donor at that site.
Great.
Yes, you can just click that on, and you become a donor, and walk away feeling good about yourself, because not only are you going to get free tickets, but you're going to save somebody's life. You're going to leave a legacy. Everybody wants to leave a legacy. They always want to leave something behind. What am I going to do? What am I going to do to change the world? How am I going to make the world a better place? Recycle yourself.
By the way, talking before about fatherhood and everything, I'll let you go in a moment. I be remiss if we didn't talk about your daughter's film for a minute.
Oh, that's very exciting.
Yeah, yeah. Girls Like Girls.
3 children, Elise, Haley, and Thatcher. And they're all wonderful people. But Haley got it into her head that she wanted to get into showbiz like mom and dad. My wife's a professional ice skater.
Right.
She choreographed Blades of Glory, I, Tonya. She's got a couple Emmys for her shows, her TV shows. And opening ceremonies, the Olympics. And Haley grew up around that. And when I asked my kids, there were all 3 of them in the back seat one day, and I said, "Hey, Elise, what do you want to do?" She said, "I think I want to teach art, Dad." And I said, "Thatcher, what do you want to do?" He said, "I think I want to design video games." And I said, "Haley, what do you want to do?" She said, "I'm going to be a star, Daddy." I said, "Oh, okay." So it was the semantics of it. And from the time she was 12, she started writing this music on our piano, and got her a guitar. And then I built her a studio in the garage. I cordoned out. We had a 3-car garage, and I took one of the carports and turned it into a soundproof studio, because all the neighbors were commenting on how much and how late Haley practices into the night. So we built a soundproof studio there, and she started making her music and putting it online, and it just took off from there. She had a few nice roles in Disney movies and stuff. She pretty much just created her own music career, and she's a queer woman. And she's engaged to a wonderful woman named Becca Tilley, who oddly enough was on The Bachelor at one point in her career. And then she released this movie, Girls Like Girls, and
which is based on a song that she released.
Well, it was a song.
It was a song first.
2015, I think it was. She released a song, Girls Like Boys Do. And right now it's at about 163 million views. So it was very popular, and everybody wanted her to make it into a movie. And she said, "Dad, nobody's ever made a music video into a movie."
Well, I saw the video. The video is very dramatic. Like, I mean, it's got a story.
It's tough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. For sure. It's a old school in the sense that it's like one of those videos that really tell a story of beyond the song itself. It's very theatrical or very cinematic, I should say. Not theatrical. It's very cinematic. So now it's a movie.
Now it's a movie, and it's gotten great reviews from Variety and Hollywood Reporter, and 85 on Rotten Tomatoes.
It just released, didn't it? It just
released tomorrow.
Released tomorrow. All right. Well, you know what? By the time this comes out, it will be out there for about a week, because it'll come out next week.
Okay. Great.
Yeah. So yeah.
We're not live? I thought we were live.
We're not. Jamie, I'm barely alive. I'm
barely living.
I'm certainly.
How old are your kids?
I have one daughter who's 5.
5. Oh, what a
it's funny. And so I talked to her about, she's like, "What do you want to do when you get older?" And she's pent out right now. She's like, "I'm going to be a scientist." And it's mostly because she just like is fascinated by making a mess of experiments, right? And so she loves the idea of it. But she's in dance, right? She had a dance recital, and she was like saying the night before her first dance recital, she's now had 2 of them. By the way, plays bigger theaters than I do. She was ever go dance recital, and she's like, "Daddy, I'm nervous about going on stage tomorrow." And I said, "Oh, baby, that's normal. Like, you're going to be nervous, and that's okay." I said, "Once you get on stage, once you start doing it, you're going to love it. Like, it's just not," which, by the way, I was making an assumption. That's not true for everyone.
Not true.
But I know she has a giant personality, and I was like, "I bet you're going to like this." Right. So, and then she's like quiet. I'm putting her to bed as she's saying this, and she goes, "What do you do when you're on stage, and like, do people ever not like it? Like, do they not laugh?" And I was like, oh, baby. Oh, God, all the time. I was like, you're talking about half my career. And so she's like, well, what do you do? I said, you just keep going. It doesn't really matter. You just keep going because you know what you're doing is good. You keep going. And so she goes to bed. She has the recital. She does great. I'm putting her to bed the next night or the night of the recital. And she was like, Daddy, you were right. And so I was like, great, I'm feeling like a proud dad at this moment, right? And she goes, but everyone liked it. Like, how people don't like when you do, like, she remembered that I said that some people don't like when I stand
It was different for me. I killed.
Right. She was like, you were right about one part, but like, yeah, I didn't have to deal with that thing about people not liking it. They loved this shit.
That's funny.
I was like, you know what? I hope that confidence sticks with you, kid, because that's amazing.
You know what I used to tell my kids was that when you go on stage, you have a secret.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing. You are doing something nobody out there in the audience is doing right now.
Yeah.
And you're there to see you doing it. And that's your secret. And that's the power that you take onto the stage.
Yeah.
Every time. And I'm saying that to you because I want you to start doing improv.
That's a good reminder for performers in general, because I think you do get so in your own head about your act and where you're going, and after you've been doing it for a long time, and you just like, I think sometimes you forget, like, this is new for the audience every time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Every time you do this, because like I've talked to a bunch of comics about this. Like sometimes you get bored of your own act. You know what I mean? You're like, God, I don't want to do that. Especially when if you have a joke that works really well and you don't want to let go of it, you just eventually you're like, you find yourself as you're telling the joke, which is a skill that you could think about other things while you're telling a joke, but you really find yourself drifting into like, what am I doing next? What am I doing that guy's wearing a weird shirt, like, and you're thinking of 6 different things as you're telling the joke. And if you really think about that, you're like, if I could go on autopilot, maybe I need to stop telling that joke. But there's different mentalities about that, right? Because like Seinfeld's a guy who's like, your act is your act is your act, and you could keep a joke in forever. It doesn't matter. Some guys are more like, I do a special and I throw it out. So you know what I mean? Like people, there's different mentalities about what's too old or what's fresh or what you keep or what you don't keep. But it comes down to your own boredom sometimes.
Well, being part of a team, Mack and I always used to surprise each other every show.
Oh, really? You'd throw things in there?
He would have a surprise for me. Not to send each other off track. It was just an additional thing.
But it was purposeful to keep it fresh.
Kept it fresh. It was the only way to keep it fresh.
Right.
Especially with a team, because it's back and forth, and you got to basically...
It's rehearsed. Yeah. Right. You can't really, in the way that a lot of solo acts will.
Yeah. Tangents are dangerous because the other guy's just standing there.
Yeah, what am I doing? Where are you going? Where are you going? Right. That's what I'm always. You know what I'm always amazed with, and is something that maybe your daughter could speak more to as a musician. But I'm always amazed with like jazz musicians, because the fact that it's not so boom, 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 and it's not so and it's really very improvised. Like, and I've known a number of jazz musicians, and I've filmed content for a bunch of them, and you watch them. Kind of like what you were saying before with your comedy partner, there's like an unspoken, they kind of just know where they're going. And
I always equated our act with jazz. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's what that reminds me of when you're saying, we would just throw something in there and then the person had to follow them. Like you don't go crazy, but you do something, you just start to find the pocket on a different thing and bring them in with you. And then but because you have the chemistry, you knew where he went and you could go with it. Or
you never know. You never know. To the audience, you've just said something, you've just pulled out a non sequitur and said it to your partner. But to your partner, it's an opportunity to jump in and go somewhere else.
I don't even think the audience thinks it's enough.
When we were opening for Diana Ross, she wouldn't let us change her act. So for like 3 years, we couldn't change our act.
Oh, really? You weren't allowed to have a little freedom on
her kids. Tracy Ellis Ross, who's an actress now.
Yeah.
She and her sister would sit out in the audience and watch us. And if we tried a new bit, she said, get a knock on the door. Miss Ross would say, boys, don't go changing stuff now.
Do you think it's because she thinks of it from her own perspective as a performer that probably had an act that was like rigid?
I watched her 300 times and she never changed a word.
Right. So she applied the same logic to you guys, but comedy's different.
And she's a perfectionist. She was.
Yeah.
People would rank on her and say, "Oh, she's such a diva." No, she just wants you to do your job.
But Tracy also, doesn't she do improv?
Does she? I don't think. I have never seen her do improv.
Oh, she's
Maybe.
like a.
Maybe.
I mean, she does. She's done a lot of stage work and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. But I thought there was a background there in like
maybe
she does a lot of comedic stuff.
Maybe I don't know.
I thought there was but maybe I'm wrong about that. Anyway, Jamie, thank you so much for coming on. I really enjoyed our talk. Yeah, it was really great.
It was really cool. I really enjoyed talking to you, man. And I hope that anybody out there listening who's involved with comedy clubs or anybody who charges a fee at the door will contact me and we can get the program started for you. Doesn't cost anything.
That's great. Let's spread the word for that. It's a great cause.
It just saves lives and it puts butts in the seats.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, you go rest that 57-year-old heart of yours. And
I will.
Thanks so much for coming on.
Anybody who tells you that laughter's the best medicine has never had a morphine drip. I guarantee you that.